As labor costs continue to rise, it becomes more important for farmers to be able to perform simple maintenance on their tractors. No one wants to ready their tractor for spring planting out in the cold and snow, but some farmers feel they cannot afford a machine shop. However, when you consider the cost savings of performing your own equipment repairs, as well as the time and frustration saved by having equipment ready to go the first day of planting, a Morton Buildings machine shop becomes more an investment than an expense.
The first year we had talked about trading an 8-row corn planter and a 20-foot grain drill. And our particular pieces were approximately 8 to 10 years old and needed bearings and discs and things, but the basic machine was still pretty good. We did some pricing, and the local dealer wanted approximately $15,000 to boot on each piece. We're talking almost $30,000. We put up the Morton building, and that was the first two projects we did. We brought in the corn planter, worked on that approximately 1 week, brought in the grain drill, put in all new discs, new bearings, pretty much stripped everything down to the frame, put everything on new that needed to, put approximately $1,200 to $1,500 in each piece. Maybe we spent $2,500 to $3,000, and them pieces are just like new today. I'm sure we saved probably $25,000 just by that first 2 weeks in the shop, by not having to trade them two pieces of equipment.
After you've decided to invest in a shop, the location should be your first consideration. Your shop will eventually become the center of your farming operations and should have a central location if it's to be used to its maximum potential. Next, you need to determine the size of your building. Be sure to consider the space requirements of present as well as future equipment to ensure your building will be sized to accommodate your largest anticipated requirements. Factor in the space needed for tools, welding equipment, hoists, workbenches, and other repair equipment.
As far as how big to build a building, I didn't look at what equipment I had today. I looked at how much the equipment's grown since I've started, since my dad was started. And I know it's not getting any smaller. And I went around to neighbors and friends and relatives and checked out their buildings, and every single one of them told me, make sure you build it big enough. So I went with 18-foot sidewalls, and with the big equipment that we have today, it sure is nice to be able to come in and not have to worry about taking the hopper off the combine, bending an exhaust pipe.
Also, consider including an office, restroom, kitchen, and conference room. You may also want to think about including a loft area, which will add storage space without increasing the building size.
I kind of decided that space, like above the office and above the bathroom and utility room and even above the workbench, is kind of a lot of wasted space, and we might as well utilize it by building some type of a loft up there for part storage and shop supplies and bulky items that we don't want laying around the shop floor. We can store them up there and have easy access to them. So that's kind of how I decided to go about it. After I decided what kind of office and bathroom space I was going to have, I built the loft then directly above those rooms.
Remember, this shop will be a part of your farm for generations, so make sure it's large enough to handle future possibilities.
When I put this building up, I looked at so many shops, and everybody I talked to said, make sure you make it big enough. Everybody makes them too small. If I could do it over again, I'd probably go wider than I did. At the time, 60-foot wide was considered a pretty big building. The farms are getting bigger today, and we just need more space than we used to.
Consider your equipment dimensions when deciding upon door sizes also. Be sure all present and future equipment will safely clear door openings without damaging door jambs and tracks. You may even want to include door jamb protectors. Because of the heavy equipment that will rest and be driven upon it, Concrete floors and approaches are an important consideration. Generally, 6 inches of reinforced concrete is sufficient for both interior floors and exterior approaches. Be sure to plan for interior floor drains if your work may require them.
The shop is 72 feet wide and 68 feet deep. The south half of the shop, the concrete is all sloped towards a floor drain, and the north half is flat. The south half is obviously where we're doing washing and things like that. The north half where it's flat, then if you're building and doing anything, you know, with the concrete being flat, it's easier to, you don't get bolts and anything else rolling away from you on the floor. We've also incorporated floor anchors just to help with, if you need it for straightening, you can tie things down. Just they're beneficial also.
Now that you've decided on the basics, it's time to consider some of Morton Building's useful interior features. Most customers choose to insulate and line their shops with Morton's exclusive Energy Performer insulation system. Morton Building owners rave about the efficiency of the system and the money they save on utility bills.
The insulation in the walls and the ceiling, I think, are very good in a Morton building, because last year, the whole winter, it cost me only $300 to heat it, and for a big building, 56 by 60, I think that is very reasonable, because we can't even heat our house for that kind of money.
When we looked at other buildings, and when I looked at other buildings besides this, a Morton building, one of the key things I looked at was how well they were insulated. And also did some research on how homes are insulated today. And when I realized that Morton had full insulation cut at the factory to fit, there's not any gaps at all within the walls of this building. And then when I saw that they covered the whole interior with plastic, it has a plastic barrier. You will not have any wind come through on this building. And at the same time, it keeps the moisture out, it keeps the wind out, and it prolongs the life of the building.
I've just got a forced air furnace that we had taken from our house. We had added on, and I needed a little bit more air movement in the house, and so we were able to salvage the heater and bring it out here. It happened to be doing the same thing all in the same year, and so I was able to do that. And it's worked great. In fact, if I didn't want it up to 80 sometimes, I don't know if I'd even need a furnace in here. It tends to be pretty warm. We went down below zero here about 2 weeks ago, and I turned the furnace on. Otherwise, it hadn't been running at all this winter. I didn't even have it, the electricity onto it.
When deciding upon a heating system, be sure to consider efficiency and fuel availability. Popular heating systems include floor heat, overhead radiant heat tubing, forced air, wood stoves, and hot water boiler systems with radiant heaters. To eliminate moisture buildup, Morton highly recommends using vented heaters.
We put in a radiant heat in this building, and it was the first building we put radiant heat. We have forced air heat in another building, and it's a type of heat that is totally different than a forced air heat. Like it a lot. It's very quiet. It does not have a lot of dust with it because there's no forced air. It keeps the object warmer. It's a different type of heat. It keeps the building drier. The floor will be drier. It's a very nice working heat to work in.
My brother had put up a shop about 10 years ago with heat in the floor, just a small, more like a car garage. And then a few years ago when I remodeled my house, I put the heat in the floor, right in the concrete of the basement. And we liked it so well. And when you get that slab of concrete warm, that really, I mean, as far as laying on the floor, working on stuff, you can really tell a difference. And I believe it, also the heating costs, we haven't got a full season in on this one yet, but so far it's been very economical.
To reduce heat loss through doors and windows, most customers choose insulated overhead and bifold doors with weather seals. Walk doors and windows should also be as energy efficient as possible. Wall and ceiling finishes are also important factors to consider. To effectively control noise and reverberation from tools and equipment, Morton Buildings recommends its high-rib acoustical steel on the ceiling and above the 8-foot level on interior walls. Depending upon your needs, the lower 8-foot can be lined with regular high-rib steel panels, smart panel, or tongue and groove plywood.
The acoustical ceiling is a great addition. Our Morton representative wanted us to look at this, and I'm sure glad we put it in, because when I'm in here working on a piece of equipment and I'm hammering on it, it really reduces the noises. And when I'm selling seed to a customer, there is not very much echo in the shop area.
Another concern is lighting. Windows provide a good source of natural light, but if the shop is to be used in the evenings, artificial lighting will also be required. High-pressure sodium and metal halide are efficient choices if the lights will be used for long periods of time. Fluorescent and incandescent lighting are more appropriate in low usage. While plumbing in the shop may seem like a luxury, in some shops it's actually become a necessity. To save time and money later on, it's best to plan for plumbing now. Customers have found that an interior hydrant is a handy feature for cleaning equipment and floors. Including a restroom in your shop will eliminate additional trips to the house. Some customers even choose to install showers for emergencies or just for convenience.
We looked at a lot of other buildings, and everyone seemed to have a bathroom of some sort in their farm shop, and I decided as long as we were going to put one in, we could just as well put in a shower and a washer and dryer, because we do have livestock and sometimes we do get rather dirty outside. So that way you can come in here, throw your clothes in the washing machine right away, jump in the shower, and get cleaned up in order to go to the house. And it's also convenient for part-time workers, or even some help that I have during the fieldwork time. If they want to come in, use the bathroom, or take a quick shower before they go home or something, it's very convenient, and we don't have to have those people coming in and out of our living quarters in the house. Then they can do that type stuff out here in the shop.
Your workbench will likely be the most frequently used area in your building. Carefully plan and design your workbench for your specific needs. And be sure to include enough outlets in this area and throughout the building. Positioning outlets 15 feet apart is considered optimal.
Our outlets in the building, there's not a single side of the building within a 15-foot area that doesn't have an outlet. We didn't go excessive in outlets, but there's more than enough outlets for any purpose you'd ever use. Now on our air system, we only made one central air location. We did not put air around the building. We did fix it where we have outside air, but only in one location inside.
On our electrical in the building, we put outlets roughly every 10 to 15 feet. One thing about it, you can't have enough electrical outlets. You've got to have a lot of them. Having drop cords all over the shop, I don't believe in. We have one drop cord in here, and it seems to do the job quite well. One thing we're going to put in is a drop cord on a reel, so we can, instead of carrying one around, it's always there. We have our air on it, on a reel, and that works real well. We can get any place in the shop with one reel. We do have air outlets going around the shop, and they're spaced every 20 feet. So if we want to take just a common hose and plug it into an air outlet, we can do that. They're right along with electrical outlets.
Some customers meet their needs with other innovative features.
And we went with a center removable post style door on one of the bigger doors. We went with an 18-foot wide, two side by side, and we get the convenience of a roll-up door and only opening up 18 feet, and then we can go to and we want to get equipment, we go to 36-foot opening, and very happy with that setup. We have remotes on all our overhead doors, and we have 2 remotes, And every piece of equipment that goes in and out of that door has a remote, and very nice convenience instead of having to get out. It's faster for letting less heat out, and very nice feature we put on there.
And another thing we done, we put these speakers in so that anytime my wife wants to call me or something, all she's got to do is hit that thing, and it makes kind of a clicking noise in here, and then I have to go up there and then I can find out what she wants and stuff. And we really enjoy them.
Another thing we did do along the wash bay and upstairs by the parts, with all the shelving and stuff, like in the middle, there's dark spots back there. What we did is we threw a couple of fluorescent lights up there, and those are just on a timer. So, because you know when you go up there, you're looking for what you need, parts of whatever. You go up there, normally you go up there empty-handed, you turn the lights on, and you're looking, you get your parts, and you're walking down, and you got your parts in your hand, and the light gets left on. So we remedied that problem. We just put a little 45-minute timer on, set it, if you're only going to be up there a little bit, you just click them on, and you get what you need. Time you get downstairs or whatever, you know that when you get in the house at night, they're going to be off too. You don't have to, your lights aren't going to be left on. Another, just a small feature that we did do on the one wall, we have a chalkboard. And when we first put that up, you know, we thought, well, what are we going to do with that, you know? We use it a lot. Chemical applicators come, anybody comes, the guys and I just trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do something. A lot of times we'll just walk to the chalkboard and start drawing. Like I say, the chemical applicators or fertilizer people, you just draw them a picture on the board. If they don't know exactly where it's at, you can, just by standing there, you can draw out the 80 or the quarter or whatever it is, and you can show them where the trees are, the line fences, and everything's there, and they get a better picture of it. Just, it works out good.
After you've chosen your building's interior features, you can then focus on its exterior appearance. Many features enhance your building's appearance while also adding functionality. Vented overhangs are attractive while providing needed ventilation. Gutters and downspouts channel precipitation away from the building, keeping the sidewalls clean while also giving it a more finished look. Porches or eyebrow overhangs provide protection from the weather as well as a unique focal point. Options for exterior finishes are endless. Morton's high-rib steel sidewall panels are a very popular, cost-effective choice for machine shops. However, customers are completely free to choose vinyl or wood siding, stone, brick, or any other finish. Morton Buildings recommends incorporating OSB panels and wainscot around the lower portion of exterior walls to provide greater damage protection and lower repair costs. You can top off your structure with most any type of roofing material, although most customers choose Morton's high-rib steel roof panels. A lightning rod installed on the roof provides additional protection for your building, and adding a cupola or two adds the final touch to any design. No matter what design or features you choose, you can be sure that your Morton building will be backed by the strongest, most comprehensive warranty package in the industry. 50-year protection against snow load damage to structures with no weight limit. 50-year protection against decay or insect attack on preservative-treated columns and lumber. 20-year protection against chalking, cracking, fading, peeling, and red rust on Morton Buildings high-rib steel panels resulting from exposure to atmospheric pollutants. 20-year protection against roof leaks on Morton Buildings Instalock standing seam roof system. 10-year protection against wind load damage to Morton Buildings Alumasteel sliding doors with no wind velocity limit. 5-year protection against wind load damage on the entire structure with no wind velocity limit. 5-year protection against roof leaks on Morton Buildings high-rib steel panels. And all of Morton Buildings warranties include materials and labor and are not prorated.
I'm sure all building companies probably have warranties, but I don't think any of them would be the quality that Morton When they build you the building, it's built right to start with, but their warranty really goes back. They've been in business for years and years, and I'm sure the company's going to be there to back it. I just think that peace of mind is worth more dollars to me to not have to worry about having problems down the road and no one there to fix it for you.
Another thing that really impressed me with the Morton building was their guarantee. The wind load, the 5-year 100% replacement on wind, the snow load, and the wind loads, was very impressed with the warranty. And you also, just reading between the lines, you know that if they're going to stand behind their building that well, they're not going to put together an inferior building and be back in a couple years to fix it because the wind blew it over.
When you decide to build a Morton Buildings machine shop, you decide to invest in the future of your farm, and you'll find that your building will never be just a repair shop.
My daughter decided that she wanted a farm wedding, and when she got done with this building, it was one of the prettiest ballrooms that you could find in the state. And then I had a son that was a senior, and the kids sure came out here. They always had the rollerblading or they played basketball. Sometimes I come in to check on them, and they sure looked like they were having a ball.
Every year we have a company party, and when we have our company party, we always have it in this building now. We do that somewhere around the 4th of July weekend, and everybody that works for Mormon Farms is invited, and some friends, and it's a perfect building to have a big picnic in.
Our Morton building is used for so many purposes that I'm sure Morton salesmen don't even know about. Besides being a farm shop and a garage, our children spend so much time out here. My husband has a desk and a telephone. We have basketball hoops. Children ride their bikes out here. And whenever we have a big birthday party, my husband turned 40 last fall, we had about 100 people in here, tables, chairs. It just works great for entertaining when you want to have a big party.
And my son is going to have a class reunion. He's planning on having a class reunion from his high school out here. And the party out here afterwards, or the reunion will be held out here. They're planning on it now. So it's going to be outside of maintenance area. It's going to be kind of a party area too once in a while.
Contact your local Morton Buildings Construction Center and discover the distinct advantage of owning a Morton building today.